Hello everybody, this video is to go with lesson 4 in the London file, and it's looking at why London is so important as a global city and why it is important on both an international and a national level. Now, as part of your course, you need to have a case study of a city in a HIC, and the city that we are going to be looking at for the next few lessons is London. And in particular, this first lesson is about this bullet point just here. So looking at the location and importance of a city in the UK and in the wider world. So just to get you going and for you to sort of grow your knowledge of London a little bit, there's just a little activity here, like a timeline. So down the side here, we have got some dates. And here, in the wrong order, we have got lots of little important events that were happening in London at that time. So all you need to do is try to match those together. I imagine a lot of them you will be able to do by a process of elimination, but any that you don't know, you should be able to find out with just a quick internet search. So we've got things like the Black Plague and how many people it killed, and the city being badly destroyed by the Blitz in the Second World War. So you should be able to slot those in quite nicely. I think it's quite an interesting thing to do, to just have a little bit of a poke around on the internet and find out a little bit more about London as a city. Just the Wikipedia page has got some really interesting maps that sort of date back hundreds of years, and then ideas from sort of thousands of years ago, even from the time of the Roman Empire. And it just really shows how London has grown up over time. So do have a little bit of a look at that on the internet. So let's start off by having a look at London as where it's located. So all you're going to need to do is, in a single sentence, just describe the location of London on the map using compass directions to help you. So here it is there, and so you should be able to do that quite easily. Now, why is London located where it is? Well, a lot of it is to do with the River Thames. Okay, the River Thames is a really big river. It's also tidal. So what that means is that when the tide is in, it pushes water up the Thames, making it deeper. So when the tide is in, you're able to get some pretty big boats carrying goods coming up the river. Okay, and so that made it really important as a port and for trading. Now, where London is actually located and where the Romans decided to locate it is on a slight narrowing where they could build a bridge more easily, so they could connect the north with the south bank and therefore make trade and the transport of supplies a lot easier. Okay, but there's records of there being settlements in the sort of London area around here before the Roman times. When they were doing archaeological work in London, they actually found the old foundations of a wooden building dating back to 4800 BC. So that's a really, really long time ago. Okay, in our modern day, London is still really important when it comes to transport. Obviously, the Docklands closed down. They no longer exist as working docks, but we do have really other important, more modern transport networks. So if we look at the motorway network, we can see here we've got the M25, which is a motorway that circles London, and then branching off from it, we have motorways that can take you all across the country. We've got 5 airports, okay, all of them really, really busy, all of them with flights sort of going all over the country and all over the world. No doubt you've seen in the news all the controversy about the idea of expanding Heathrow so it can take even more international traffic in the future. The rail network as well. Okay, so this shows you the rail network in in the UK, and obviously in London itself there is the underground rail network and also a very extensive overground network in London as well. So it's really, really well connected, both from the point of view of the different parts of London, and then nationally using the rail network and the motorway network, and internationally with the airports, and obviously as well the Channel Tunnel going towards France as well. A really important connection for us, because you can get on a train in London and in just a short while you can be getting off that train in Paris, which is, you know, a really incredible service. So if we take a look at a photo of London and its skyline, Okay, we've got the picture here. We've got some little tasks to do. Now, if you've got a printer, you could always print this out. If not, you can just do notes in your book. But what I want you to think about is, what evidence can you see of urban growth on this picture? Okay, so one of the really obvious ones is, as far as the eye can see, pretty much, there are buildings, okay? But we've also got in London, and it's maybe a little bit hard to tell from these pictures, but if you've been to London, you'll no doubt have noticed it. It's this incredible mix of old and new. Okay, so a lot of the buildings in London have been there for an extremely long time, hundreds of years in some cases, and a lot of them are protected. They can't get knocked down, but it's also a very modern city, so you've got these skyscrapers growing up, things like the Shard and the Gherkin. So when you're walking around the streets, sometimes you might get like a really oldie worldy looking pub, and then right next to it a really, really modern looking building. So another evidence of urban growth is this growth upwards, because London is incredibly densely populated. It's very crowded, so there isn't a lot of space left in order to be able to build new buildings outwards. So instead, we've got this upward building taking place. Okay, so why have we seen this urban growth in London? Well, a huge growth in the population of the UK, just naturally, with decreasing death rates, meaning that the population has grown, but also people migrating here, not just across the UK, but from all over the world to get jobs in London. It is a really global city. It's got a lot of opportunity for people in finance, in media, sporting activities. There's some really good training facilities, education. There's absolutely stacks of opportunity. Finance, I think I already said that one. Advertising, all sorts going on in London. So it attracts people from all over the world. As for what you think might happen in the future, well, that's kind of for you to decide, really. And it's something that I think is really, really difficult to answer. I mean, certainly the future of London is set to change, maybe with the Brexit process. We shall have to wait and see what kind of relationship we have with Europe in the future, because at the moment London is often seen as being financially and from a business perspective the gateway into Europe, and lots of the banks have their international headquarters for Europe situated in London. So all the deals and all the business deals and the wheeling and dealing that happens goes through London. Whether or not that will change in the future, we will have to wait and see. So with what might happen in the future, your guess is as good as mine. So we need to think about why London is so important, and what I want you to do in your book is just have a look at these pictures and note down some of the reasons why you think London is important for us, as both from a national point of view, so from the country of the United Kingdom, but also internationally. So just have a good look at those photos and just jot down a few ideas. Now, when you have got that, when you've got a few of your ideas down, then you've got a bit of more detailed activity to do. So what you need to do is a table, 2 columns, nationally and internationally. So we're going to be writing down the different ways that London is important. So nationally for the country, and internationally, so for other countries as well. Now, if you've got access to Microsoft Teams, the worksheet that I'm going to show you now is on Microsoft Teams. But if you don't worry about it, because I've popped it on to this PowerPoint for you. You should be able to zoom in and see it. So this is the top half of the sheet, and you can see you've got lots of different reasons why London is important. Okay, so all you need to do is look at them and choose a selection to put in your table for nationally and internationally important. They are pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to go through them all with you. The one that I will point out is this one that says 392,400 people are employed in the City of London. Now, those of you with your wits about you will probably be thinking, what? Isn't London a city of 9 million people? How on earth can only, just under 400,000 of them be employed? The City of London doesn't mean the whole of London as a city, okay? The City of London is this tiny little red bit here. It's the name given to the old financial heartland of London. It's also known as the Square Mile, which some of you might have heard of. It's where lots of the banking takes place, lots of the finance takes place, okay? Today also we have the Docklands area. That's another area where we've got a lot of finance and a lot of banking, but traditionally this is the area here. It's where you get businesses like Lloyd's of London, which again some of you may have heard of, one of the main sort of finance and banking companies that exist. Okay, so that is the City of London. So city with a capital C, okay, rather than being London City. This slide just shows you the other half of that worksheet with those the ways that London is important from both a national and international perspective. Okay, so don't feel like you've got to do all of these, but do make sure you have got a pretty decent selection, okay, of ways that London is important both nationally and internationally. And then if we go back to this screen again, okay, we can see here we've got a sample exam question you might like to have a go at. It's just a little 4 marker. So very simply, just for a city you've studied in a HIC, suggest ways it has both national and international importance. So that should give you a little bit of a practice at using some of these in a question. If you want to stretch yourself a little bit more, you could make that a 6 marker rather than a 4 marker, and you could sort of try to be explaining why those things are important. Is it because it makes money? Is it because it increases London's reputation? Is it because it provides entertainment for somebody? So you would be taking it a little bit further, because it would, if it was out of 6, it would be going towards level 3 and not just level 2, okay, as an answer. Okay, so that just about goes through everything for this lesson. As always, if there's anything that's not clear or you need more help with, then drop your geography teacher an email. Okay, thanks everybody. Bye.